It's cold today. You want to know how I know? I put my balls against the window. No, so I just got back inside. Venti was outside. He was eating. So I threw my pajama pants on and I went outside. And as soon as I got outside, actually, I didn't even get outside, but I opened the door. He saw me. And he was like, and I was like, and he was like, and I was like, and I opened the door and so I go out and sit down. And instead of finishing eating like he normally does, he just sauntered on by, and there we go, back in focus. You know, with his head on my leg, going around. I say, "Come on, you know the drill." So I just kind of did that, jumped up, and normally he does this for like a minute, but no, he just kind of, and he got comfortable, and I'm sitting there and I'm stroking the kitty and loving the kitty. And I look over at his food, and he's still got a bit left, but he made a good dent in it. I filled it up at like almost 11. What time is it now? 5:30. And he's been the only one I think who's been over here, because I check out there frequently. And I haven't seen that other white cat. I think it's like one of those things that, like, yeah, if I'm in the neighborhood, I'll come around and eat. But it's not a regular, I guess. I saw the gray and white one this morning when I went out. Maybe I saw her earlier, but she doesn't eat that much because I'm like, every little fucking sound scares her. But he made a good dent. I also had to go out this morning anyway. I had to get another candle, for nighttime. And I had to get more food for out there for them. But anyways, I'm sitting there just loving on my venti, and I look at his food. I'm like, oh, okay, he's eating a good bit. Now I look at his water. I'm like, huh. I notice, and I see the top. I'm like, was that water frozen before? Because when I came back at like 11 o'clock, I swear it wasn't frozen. But it's like 30 something degrees right now, and like I said, it's about 5:30, so it could have frozen. I mean, the whole thing wasn't frozen. It was basically the bowl, take it out, the frozen part. So it wasn't like it was frozen through and through. It was just that, like, this much of it was frozen, and the bowl's like this big, maybe like that big, that deep, and like maybe that wide. It's a small bowl, but it was about that thick. I'm like, I was gonna take it out, but I'm like, nah, we just dump the whole thing. Because I mean, you have to clean out the bowls anyway, otherwise they start to form bacteria, and you don't want the cats ingesting that. So I went to the bathroom and ran it under some hot water just in case anything else was in there, and filled it back up. Went outside, and I'm like, now don't you be freezing again now. No. Actually, once I went back outside, I was like, okay, Venti, I will see you later. It's getting cold. He was sitting right at the door when I was trying to get back out. I mean, he wants to come in the house, and I would love to let him in this house. But, like I said, he's still got his junk. So there'll be no spraying cats in this house. Not yet. Like I said, I plan on letting him in, because if I plan on getting him fixed, he's going to have to be in the house anyway. Come on, there we go, back in focus. He's going to have to be in the house anyway, because it's not a very good idea to leave a cat who's just been fixed outside. Obviously, tearing of the stitches, that we don't need them ripping their stitches open and their fucking guts and whatever flying out. And bleeding all over the place. So once he gets fixed, he's going to have to. But he's a great cat. Like, I think he would be the kind of cat that, like, Sam's a great cat, and you see he's all lovey-dovey, but he also is, he'll become a jerk. But Venti, it's like once he sits down with you, it's like he'll stay with you for 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours. Like I was sitting out there from 11 o'clock one morning, 11 o'clock to about 1 in the afternoon, just sitting because he was sitting on me the entire time. So he's the kind of cat that I could be sitting here watching videos and he'll just jump up and he'd stay with me. You know, he's probably the kind of cat who would just cuddle up with me at night when I'm sleeping. You know? So I know he'd be an awesome inside cat. The only matter of getting over is the fact that Sam doesn't like him very much right now. But Fluffy Butt was the same way. Sam didn't like her either. And now they're best friends. They always sleep together. You know, you can secretly see him sometimes, you know, licking her and cleaning her and loving on her. He likes to act like he doesn't care about her, but he does. Otherwise, he wouldn't be licking her and cleaning her and taking care of her. But he was the same way with her when she first got here. The going after her and stuff like that. So it's just something he'd have to get used to. And I mean, I don't want to keep him in the house. I mean, I want to keep him in the house permanently, but I feel bad because the other cat, the girl, I mean, don't want to separate those two because she seems fond of him and he obviously likes her. You know, that'd be like me going over to my friend's house, taking like, I don't know, Sylvanas. They'd be like, oh, you're mine now. You know, they've all been together for 8-9 years. So separating them, I would just feel really bad. So, I mean, I would continue to I guess I would let him out still. But he would be the kind of cat where, you know, I'd bring him in at night. Bad weather, rain, snow, he's coming in the house. Heavy winds even, because for all we know, something could, you know, a branch or something right on top of him. So we don't need that. So heavy weather, bad weather, nighttime, he comes in the house. So basically, if he was in the house, I would let him out in the mornings when I go to work, and then pretty much whenever he comes back at night, because he comes in, I don't know, sometimes 6-7 o'clock, I just bring him in the house. So he has all, you know, so he can stay out during the day when it's nicer, and then once it's, you know, dark and colder, bring him in. So like I said, I'd feel really bad separating them. I really would. And I would love to make her an inside cat, but she's skittish. There's no way I'd even be able to catch her to bring her in. You know, I mean, you could set a trap, but she's already skittish enough, and she's already afraid of everything. So that would just set her over the edge, you know, over the edge, and she'd be even more scared. But yeah, like if I was making videos right now, he'd probably be like right back there sleeping. Actually, no, he'd be like right here sleeping. But yeah, I would just feel bad separating them. So I think even after I get him fixed and kind of claim him as mine, I'm still going to let him out during the day and all that, and just bring him in. And once we find out his age, you know, because if you have a cat and they're older, you should probably be bringing them inside permanently anyway. Because once they get up there in age, I mean, they're more susceptible to everything. They're more likely to get sick. You know, their fur isn't going to keep them as warm anymore and stuff like that. So they're more susceptible to getting sick and disease and all that. So bring them in. I mean, all the cats, if you have outside cats, they should have been trained to be inside anyway. Like I said, our cat Bam, when he was alive, he was perfectly fine in the house. As long as his cat box, as long as the litter box didn't have a top on it, because he hated that. He used the litter box, he knew where the food was. You know, he was perfect, really. Like I said, when we bring him in at night, he would sleep with me, and I'd have the litter box at the very end of the bed for him, and he'd use it, and then jump back on the bed, sleep right near my head. Wake up, there he is. So, cats aren't stupid. People need to stop acting like just because they're animals that they're fucking stupid. They're not. So, but yeah, he'd have to be inside because he's gonna have to have a cone on his head for a while. Oh god, the cone. Although, who was it? I think Ava. I think Ava and Sylvanas had the cone on, but then Mitty somehow got it off, and his was perfectly fine though. Like he would jump and play and this and that, and his stitches never even came close to tearing. It's like they make them even tighter now. It's like they know that sometimes cats are not going to be able to leave the cones on because they're going to somehow get out of them. So it's like, well, we better extra tight. We got to take into account all the jumping they'll do and the running they'll do and the playing they'll do. So extra tight with these stitches. Not to mention they're the dissolvable ones, so I think they're just made differently anyway. So, but here we are all worried that Mitty's gonna freaking tear his stitches and he's gonna fucking open up and start bleeding all over the place. Because if something was to happen, it's like, okay, well, where do we get to go now? You know, like, especially if it's nighttime or something, all the places are closed. But no, he was perfectly fine. We didn't like the fact that he was running around without the cone on. And it's like, pick him up, don't let him jump. But, yeah. I can hear you fapping in there. Oh. Anyways, moral of the story is it's fucking cold. Anyways, you guys know the drill. I'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys.